in any of this drive, I will choose. Okay, in my F drive, I am creating. Here I am creating npx create React app, and Todo is the app name. Todo is the application. So I will give React Todo. That is the app name. Okay. We are creating an app by name React Todo. So let's do that here first. So first point one is create a new React application, and some location. I chosen some location npx create React app and React to do. That is one application. Now, after creating this application, what you do is install following libraries for project. What are the libraries you have to install for project? Um, Client side and server side, two libraries we need, because we need server side API also in the same location. Client side, what are the libraries required? So npm install. We have to install, one is Bootstrap. We have Bootstrap icons. Okay. And what is next set? All you can give right in one line. So save this. You need Formic for handling the forms. You need Formic. Yup, for handling the validations. Axios for communicating with the APIs. You can later add material UI also and make buttons effective or other controls effective. First, I will show you the complete functionality. Then you can concentrate on designs, right? So these are the libraries. What else you need to keep the user available until he sign out? You need another install. One is a React router DOM is there. We need this. That is for routing. And we need React cookie library. That is for keeping the user logged in. After login, we can keep the user logged in. So using cookies. So we need these two also. For everyone, use save as and. These are the client side libraries you need. Anything else we are missing? Means basic one. Bootstrap, icons, Formic, yup, Axios, all are good. Router DOM is good. React cookies, okay. Anything else for basic? Anything else you need? So we don't need anything else basically. So then what you do? This is enough. Later you can add material UI if you want to make the representation and effective. Right. So next, server side. Server side, what are the libraries you need? npm install. You need Express.js, Express. You need MongoDB, and you need CORS. These are the server side library you need. I already explained why you need them. So Express, MongoDB, and CORS. These are the libraries. Why you need a CORS library? To control the methods. That means if you want to add restriction for get post methods, so you want give access to all the methods. This is required. Express is for creating API, the business logic, and MongoDB is drivers library to communicate with MongoDB database. Right. These are the client side and server side libraries you need to set up for your project. Right. Okay. So let's see that. It is doing, let it do. And meanwhile, in the MongoDB Compass, let's open the Compass. Actually, we need to keep the database ready to communicate. But the speciality about MongoDB is because it supports ORM, without creating database, you write the business logic and you run that logic. Automatically, it will design everything required. It will create database. It will create collection. It will seed data into the collection. Actually, we don't call as storing data. We call as seeding data. Seeding data is adding data into the table. So it is not storing data. We generally call as seeding data. So we can uh, we can check here. Already I have a lot of databases. I will do one thing. We will create a database called React To Do. Currently, there is no database React To Do. We will create React To Do. Okay, let's do that. So I will delete all this. Unnecessary ones, I will delete one. Some unnecessary we are delete. Okay, so just I'm reducing the burden on this actual. Fine. Okay, we will create we will create a database called React To Do. Okay, that is our database plan. Okay, so the project is created. Let's open this. So I will open the project in the F drive. I saved it. And it is React To Do application. Okay. This is the React To Do application. Now, first, we will set up all the libraries. We will install all the required libraries. npm install bootstrap icons, and we will install react cookie, react router dom, okay, formic, yup, axios, and save. I am giving all in one line. We can download all of them. Actually, here you need to deal with um, the library date and time. And displaying date and time, you cannot perfectly do without a date adapter. You need a date adapter to display date and time in your own format. Then, what are the date adapters you have? I already told you in Material UI. So, when you are dealing with date and time values, your JavaScript date and time functions will not work here properly. Then, to display date and time in a proper format, you can have some uh, some date adapters. You have day.js, or you have moment. Moment is also a date related very popular library. Actually, date related very popular library is there, npmjs.com. This is moment. So moment is used for lot of things. It is a very popular library. This is moment. This moment library is very good for handling the dates. That means you can see weekly downloads, how many are there. That means one of the popularly used library for date, for not only you, not only React, for several JavaScript based technologies, they use this library. So you can install this moment and save this. This is the library we can use for displaying dates in a good format. Actually, to display date, you need JavaScript date functions. But the JavaScript date functions cannot work in React, because React JavaScript date functions actually get the regional settings from browser. They get the regional settings from browser, and the browser is not accessible to virtual DOM. That is the reason virtual DOM is having a separate library, that is moment or day.js like libraries you need that. So that is the reason you need to do this. Okay. So this also we will do. So npm install moment and save. Moment is a date and time library. So converting the dates, displaying the dates in a format which is easy to understand and all. Okay. Server side now, npm install Express, MongoDB, and Cors. These are the libraries we are downloading. Okay. Once you done all this, now what you do is add a new folder by name server into project. Add a new folder into project by name server. So add a new server side program file. We will give as REST API.js. You add a server side business logic actually. Program file, better I give use the word server side business logic file. REST API.js. What is the purpose of this business logic? Communicate with the database, get the data, and return the data in JSON. Already yesterday I showed you about the API. Actual, the concept of the API, the main aim of API here is yeah. So to reach different device, this is what we are going to implement now. Huh? This is what we are going to implement now. Means what? We are going to write the business logic now. This business logic related all request methods I given above, and those will be communicating with the database and returning the data to all. Now this API, not only you, even Angular, React, Vue, general JavaScript applications also can use. You are just creating an API. Any app can use it. Any application can use this API. So that means many times when freshers come to learn technology, they ask, Sir, will you teach API with .NET, API with Java? That itself tell that they don't know about API. Right? API is not for Java, .NET, PHP, Python. That means if anybody asking that, will you show how to create API with Java, .NET? That is a wrong concept. Because the point here is API is designed using various technologies. Java can do, PHP can do. Consuming API in all technologies is same. You created API. What is the concept of API? It provides URL which can be consumed by any application. They need just URL. Java people can use, .NET people can use, PHP, Python, anybody can use. Angular, React, anyone can use. Only they need the URL. For example, we have fake store. Which technology can use fake store? Any technology can use fake store. That means API main concept is not for a technology. So anybody can access it. Okay, let's do this now. We installed all this. Let's create a folder. What is the name? Server. In the server folder, REST API.js. Okay. Let's create the API request now. First, we need express. There is no order in importing. Require what we require express. Okay, we need a course. What is it? Require what? Course. Okay, next we need a Mongo client. Is require MongoDB. In MongoDB, Mongo client. Actually, we need only this class. Why you are not importing entire MongoDB? Not required, because MongoDB has server side methods, client side methods. We need only client side methods. That is the reason we are importing only one class called Mongo client. Okay. And I will create a connection string. Connection string. Because I need to connect with database so many times. Insert, update, delete. Then we will create a connection string in a variable so that you can easily reuse it. MongoDB : /1270001 27017. That is the connection string. Okay. Now we will create an app where app is equal to what? Express. We are creating an application. Now, very, very important here is this application have to use CORS so that we can handle the restrictions for API methods. If you want to allow all methods, then you just make sure that app.use, it is using which library? CORS. That is the library. Later in this course, we can add options like which method to prevent, which method to allow. We can write the request methods. If you don't write anything, you are simply saying that allow all methods. Allow all methods to handle. All methods to handle means get, post, put, delete. Remember, if you don't do this, your API will allow get but will not allow post, put, delete. By default, API is allowed only for get. If you want to allow post, put, delete, make sure that you are using a CORS. Otherwise, it will not work. So we have to enable that CORS. One more point is there. When you send data to the client from server, automatically it is in JSON form because REST APIs currently they send data in JSON form. But if anybody send data from client, that means through query string or through form body, if anybody send data, it will come in a string form. That means whatever data is sent from server to client is always JSON. But whatever data comes from client to server is string. Then what we have to do? Collect the data, convert that into which format? JSON, and give it to the application. Incoming data must be converted into JSON. That means actually from client side, what happens is client will submit data from a form. This data will be submitted in a binary code. And this binary code data should be first encoded. That means it is sent in a binary form. You have to encode the data first. Encode the data means from binary, you need to convert into characters. After converting into string, it will encode into string. This string is converted into JSON. That means actually this data is sent from a specific URL. This is called URL encoding. When data comes from particular path, particular URL, that URL data, encoded data must be converted into JSON. URL encoded data must be first allowed and it must be converted into JSON. Actually, this work is done previously by a library called body parser. But now we are not using this anymore. But still you will see several projects online, YouTube and everywhere. They will ask you to install body parser. But you don't need that in the latest version because Express inbuilt have a body parser now. Earlier we don't have that. That's the reason separately we have to install this. But now Express is already having a body parser. By using that body parser, we have to convert the incoming data into which format? JSON. So our app have to use another one, app.use. What it should use? App have to use express.url encoded. URL encoded. And what this URL encoded? You see, it is using a body parser. It is using a body parser. That means it is a middleware that only parses URL encoded bodies. URL encoded bodies. Here you have to put URL encoded extended as true. You have to set like this. When you set extended true, that means it is allowed to translate the data first. And after translating data, remember, this is only for allowing translation. If you don't allow translation, data will be blocked. It will not be allowed. First, you have to allow translation. URL encoded extended true is to allow translation. Okay, after translation, convert the data into which format? JSON. So app.use express.json, which will convert the data into JSON. This is what you have to do. This is mandatory if you are dealing with post, put, and delete. It is optional if you are dealing with only get. If you are designing API with only get methods, then you don't need CORS, you don't need URL encoding and all. Why? Because you are just sending the data. By default, API can send the data through which request? Get. But API will not allow post, put, and delete. For that, you need to enable CORS. And even you enable CORS, the incoming data it cannot recognize. We have to convert that into which format? JSON. These things you have to define. After that, now you have to create the server side routes. You have to create the server side routes. We have to design the server side routes. Server side routes are same like client side routes. Same like client side routes. So server side routes, how to create? Let's see what are the routes we have to create. Above we mentioned already these routes we have to create. What is the first route? Register user. So here we will put app dot which method? Post. That means this route must be designed for which method? Post method. The request method is post. Na? So app have to use the method post. Okay, what is the post path? Post path is what? Slash register user. Register user is the path. And it will have a callback with the two objects, request and response. These are the two objects. Request object can bring the data, response object can send the data. Here, what we have to do is we have to bring the data of user and insert into the database. That means first we have to collect the data coming from the front end. How the data will be sent? Usually, we will design a form. We will design a form. In that form, we will have ID, name, password, all these details. And we will submit. Actually, the form is submitted on which method? It is submitted on post. When form is submitting its data on post, data will be in which place? Form body. Data will be in the form body. On get request, if they submit, it will be in query string. On post request, if they submit, it is in the form body. So now what this request object have to do? Collect the form body. And in the form body, how data is present? Suppose these are the text boxes. That means these will be treated as field name. These will be treated as value. That means it will come in the form of an form body will come in the form of an object. In that we will have user ID and whatever the user ID they entered in text box. We will have password like that. That means now what we will do? We have to collect this data and insert into database. First we will collect the data and store in a variable user. What is the data we are expecting? User ID. From where that user ID will come? From form body. Who can collect the data? Request object. Request dot body. Request dot body. And what is the field name in the form body? Field name is what? User ID. The same field name we are expecting, right? This is not yet designed, but our designer have to design like this. That means this is not designed. Our UI people have to create like this. Okay. Now another one, username. request dot what, body dot what, username. Next, password, request dot body dot password. Next, email, request dot body dot email. Next, mobile, request dot body dot mobile. Okay. After collecting this data, we have to insert into the database. How to connect with the database? Mongo client dot connect. Connect with connection string. Connection string contains the connection string. Dot then. We will have a client object. Am I right? Through this client object, we will have a database. Through client object DB method, we can access the database. Which database? React to do. That is the React to do. Yeah, React to do is the database. I'm just using the database as React to do. Any database you can do, right? I am creating a database by name React to do, right? Here, actually, there is no database by name React to do, right? So there is no database by name React to do. We will create a database by name React to do. Okay. That means our developers are writing for business requirements. According to business, what is required, they know. But the database is not ready. They don't worry, because whenever database is ready, it can communicate. If database is not ready, according to ORM, it can even create. Right? Let's see. We will do that and see. Okay. Into the database, we have to insert the data. So what we will do? So we will use database dot what, collection. Collection name we will give users. Users is a collection. There is no database, there is no collection. But according to our business requirement, we are expecting this. Okay. Into the users collection, we have to insert one. Insert one method na, to insert a record. Okay. Which one to insert? Document. Document is what? User. User is nothing but this object. This object you are inserting. After that, we will put a then and a callback, and we will simply put a message. So console.log, we will say user registered. Just message I am giving. After that, so response dot end. Response should end. So this is the complete request method we created. This is on which request? On post. That is one request method we designed. So that means what we are doing, we are creating a request for inserting data into the database. Okay, let's test up to this. One by one, we will test. If all are working fine, then we will implement it, right? Okay, let's test. Then app.listen. We should start the server na, listen on port number. Suppose 6060, some port number. Okay. And put a message console.log. What is the message? Server started. And http colon double slash 127.0.0.1.6060. That is the request. So we designed a post method, and we need to test this now. We will start. We will change to the folder called CD server, because API is present there. We have to run that node REST API dot what, JS. So it is going to run that API and says server started. Server started on that particular. Now currently what is the method? Post. You cannot test post methods in browser. In browser you can test only get methods. Then for API testing, you can download one more tool. So this is api.js. I'll just give a note. Somewhere you can just add a note. So for API testing, you download API testing tools. We have like actually API, these are not testing, debugging tools, right? Debugging tools we have like what? Postman. Postman is there, Fiddler is there, Fiddler, and Swagger is there. So many. Even Firebase have their own debuggers and all. Some popular are these. Postman, Fiddler are very popularly used across all technologies. So you can try these tools. You download these tools because browser can test only get methods of API. You cannot test post because in browser, whatever you enter in URL and hit enter, then it is treated as get. That is the reason you cannot test post put methods. You better install this anyone. Okay, I have already in my computer Postman. I will open this Postman tool. You can download Postman web debuggers. These are web debuggers. You can download those web debugger. In this Postman, now we need to test. So in the Postman, what you have to test is, you see this is Postman, and we have a new request. That means plus button is there. So this is new request. The request method is not get. Which method? Post. URL http colon double slash 127.0.0.16060 slash what? Register what? User. That is register user. Okay. This into this register user, that is the method now. The method name is register user. That is the method. Okay. Now into the method, we need to send some data. Then go to body section. Below there is a body section. Go to body section. In the body, we are sending not from form. We are sending URL encoded. Form URL encoded. Because we don't have a form here. We have to just test. Then select URL encoded data. Here you enter what keys and values it is expecting. What are the keys and values it is expecting? Key is what? User ID. Okay, temporarily I will register one user directly here. This is what you will design in a form in React. From there they can submit. Okay, what is the user ID? Is Sam underscore NIT. That is the user ID. User name, some Samson, something. And password. Password is Sam at the net 11. And email. So Sam at outlook.com, something like this. And mobile. And we have plus 9112345678910910, some number. After this, now you have to just click on the send button. You click the send button after entering the data. Remember, there is no database, there is no collection, but you are just running the business logic. That send and see. I click on send. The request is sent. You see in my API user registered message came. Okay, let's go to the database and see. In the database, we will refresh the databases here. I refresh the database. You see now React to do database is created. So, and in this database, a table is created by users. In this table, data is stored by that data is stored. That's great. That means This is the concept. You just write the logic, it will create everything for you. In some technologies, even you don't need to write the logic. Design entity diagram means what is the business requirement, draw a flow chart diagram. For that, it will write the code, it will design the database. That is what recently you people call as artificial intelligence, chat GPT and all. But this is there 15 years back, right? That is, these kind of approaches are very much available in lot of technologies. Do you know this mechanism is called scaffolding? We call this mechanism as scaffolding. It was invented by a technology called Ruby on Rails. These are very popular technologies in European countries actually. So these technologies invented that scaffolding mechanism where a developer can ask what he wants. According to that, everything is generated. This is the ORM advantage, ORM approach. So now second time you register another user, will it create another database? It will not create another database. Now it will use a technique of verifying whether there is a database by that name. That means what is ORM? When you asked any database, it will first verify is it available or not. If it is available, it will communicate. If not available, it will create. Our developers can even set restriction that don't create. If it is there, then communicate. We can add such logics. That is the advantage of this ORM mechanism is. So we are just executing the business logic. Database is created and table is created. Data is seeded into the database. Okay, this is one request. Let's stop this now. Let's create other requests now. Okay, what is the next request? So the next request is what? Login. User must able to log in. For that, we will use get all users. Okay, we will use get all users. So we will write another method. Almost everything similar. Let me copy this here. Okay, and this time this method is not post method. We will delete this. The method is which method? Get method. And what is the URL? Get users. And what it has to do from this database? Not insert command. Na? Not insert command. What it has to do? Dot find all, and dot to array, and dot then collect all the documents and send all the documents. It should send all the documents. It should send all the documents. So response dot what? Send. Send what? Documents. After that, response dot end. Okay. Get users is ready, which is going to return all the users. Okay. Now let's run this API. And you see now I am having this postman. And in this, I will use a get method. In the get method, we will use what? Get users. And click on send. It will get the data and it will show. You can see that user data is there. Currently, only one user is there. It will return one user. How many users are there? It can return all the users. Okay. This is get method. Next, what? Add appointment. Same like user register. Same like user register. But here, what are the details we want to add? Let's see. That means now I will stop this and we need to create another method. What is the method? Post. Post method. And what is the name? Add task. And here it is not user. It is which details we need to collect? Task. And what task will have? So task is going to have appointment underscore id. We will give one, two, three, four ids we will give for appointment. Title is some title. Actually this one two we will get it from request dot what, body dot appointment id, but it is a number. When you post anything from postman or form, it will come in a string. So this must be converted into number. What it is? Parse int. Otherwise it will be saved as string 123 like this. Okay, title request dot body dot title, it is a string only. Next, what? Description request dot body dot description. Okay, next, what? Date. Date is so new date. We are allocating date memory. Into the date memory we are passing the date. String form, you learn how to save the dates. So request dot what, body dot date. Okay, after that, next, what? We have user id. That means this appoint belongs to whom? User id. That means we need to get the detail. What is it? Request dot body dot what, user id. So there is a relation between appointment table and user table. Every appointment belongs to specific user. What user table user id is having, that we will use here. Okay, now this task must be inserted. Insert what? Task. Insert task. After inserting the task, we will put a message, task added. Okay, into which table? Collection name is what? Appointments. Into appointments table it will add it. That's it. Same like register, we created another one. Okay, let's run this and see now. That means we need to design this interaction. So let's create that and see. I need to go to post method. In the post method, we need to add task. Add task. In the body, we need to change this. So I will delete these existing details, keys and values. The raw data we need to add there. Form data. Actually, this unnecessary data is there. Okay, I will remove the data. Now, what is the form data we need to add? So for add task, we need appointment ID. Appointment underscore ID. Value is 1. Title. So suppose project review, something, that is the title. So description, description. So send project for review, something message we are giving. And what? Date. Date we will enter in a year, month, day. That is the standard format to enter. So year, month, day. 2024, suppose 05 and 26, like this we are using. So, and you keep the time. Later we will learn how to convert them, right? We will discuss how to convert. Time is what? Suppose 1420 hours. That is 1420 I am giving you. Okay, next, what? User id. This belongs to whom? Sam underscore nit. That is actually the user who is already there. That is his user id na? That user id. Later in form we design the connection, right? Relationship we will design in the form. Okay, now let's say send. Then it is sent successfully. Appointment added, task added. Go to the post database. Here to do, once refresh. Okay, now you see appointments is also there. And in the appointments, we will collect that and check that some data storage. Okay, you can see everything is perfect. That means here we are adding the data and displaying the data. But later you will learn how to convert this into a correct time format. I'm just temporarily adding, but this we will not add like this. From form we will put date time pickers and it will add. So technically the data is added. When you go to edit, you see the data types are correctly coming or not important. Then we can store the data in any way we want, right? This is the concept of how we can add the post. Now I think you can design view tasks. View tasks is what? View task is, it is going to return the all tasks, but we don't want to return all tasks. We want to return the task only based on the user ID. That user related tasks only should come, not all tasks. Then we will use here a parameter depending on what? User ID. That user related tasks only should come, not all tasks. Then what you have to do? We will make that change there. So now we will stop this, and here we will create the method. What is that? Same like get users. I will copy that and I will add another one. What it should be? Get task. Get task. Get view task. So view task based on user IDs. View tasks. We will use view tasks. Okay, based on user ID. Remember, this is routing. In routing, how to define a parameter? Parameter. How to write parameter in route? In route path, how to write parameter? In React already you learned. Route parameters are written slash colon. Slash colon na? Parameter name. Parameter name is what? User ID. Now what we have to do is collect that user ID parameter and filter only those details. That means find from which one? Tasks, appointments. Appointments is the collection. In that, which appointments we need to collect? The appointments who are matching with that particular user ID. That means what we have to use? We have to use the field name. Field name is what? User ID matching with the route parameter. Generally, how do you collect the route parameter here is by using request.params. In React, we used use params. Na? Server side, we use request.params. Request.params, which parameter? Parameter name. Parameter name is user ID. That means it will get only that particular user related details and show. And remember, there can be several appointments by his ID. That is the reason it is an array of all appointments. So we need to get the appointments and send. Okay. Now let's run this and see. And we will write here. What is the method? Get. And what is it? View tasks. View task. So slash some David. And when I click on send, there are no empty array. That means there are no tasks for this user. Okay, who is the user available? Sam underscore NIT, and send that request and his details will come. If it is not matching, it will return an empty array. It is matching, then that particular appointments will come. All the appointment belongs to that particular user. So how do we design the route path and configure this? This is how we add the method. This is the method. So we added the method like this one. Now view appointment based on its ID. Same na? Right? Another two methods we have to create, put and delete. So for modifying and for deleting. That we'll see tomorrow. I will upload up to now. You can try put and delete also, but I will show you how to add put and delete. Then in tomorrow's session, we will finish this API, and now we will design interface for this API. That means in tomorrow's session, we are going to build the front end UI to communicate with this backend. That we'll see in next session. Tomorrow we will do that. Okay. This entire code I will upload. You can try this. Up to this action, you can try. Put and delete options are there that we will see in the next. This is the REST API.js. Right? You try this up to now. Then in tomorrow's session, we will build the user interface. Okay.